And now it's time to sip the coffee and spill the tea on Talking with 3D Live. Here's your host, Derrick Dixon.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of Talking with 3D Live. I'm your host, Derrick Dixon, and this is where we always sip the coffee and spill the tea. Listen, today we are talking about authors, and especially Black authors. So I'm excited today to have Miss Robin Williams here with me in the studio. I'm going to be telling you a little bit about her, but I just want to let you guys know that Black authors, they make up a small percentage of publishing authors, with estimates ranging from 5 to 7%. This underrepresentation reflects the publishing industry history of favoring white authors. The publishing author's lack of diversity is a broader trend that extends to other marginalized authors such as Hispanic and Asian authors. So we need to change that, and we need to give voices, give writing pens to our Black authors, because we're out there. We are here. We are writing great books, and we need to make sure that these people are being, brought to the light. So today, I want to extend this show to Robin Williams, who is one of our Black authors. We're going to be talking about her first book that she wrote. So, Miss Robin, thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
I'm so excited to having you here. First off, we got to give a shout out, because I was introduced to Miss Robin Williams from Pastor Tony Smith from Victoria Ministries.
Yes.
So thank you, Pastor Tony, because I know if I didn't give you a shout out, I wasn't going to hear the end of it. So thank you very much. So Pastor Tony Smith from Victoria Ministries, thank you so much. I appreciate you. He always has my back and everything. So thank you very much. So Robin, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm just so excited, writer to writer. Mm-hmm. I am a published author, you being a published author. I want to tell our audience just a little bit about you. You are an emerging urban fiction author. And a lot of times when I tell people emerging, no, you are now.
Okay. Yes, I'll take that.
You are now an urban fiction author from Baltimore, Maryland, a mother, a grandmother, a businesswoman, dedicated her life to raising 6 children.
Yes.
What began as a personal journey evolved into a powerful fictional memoir loosely inspired by her own life struggles. So I want to just, again, congratulate you.
Thank you so much.
On writing your first book. So
Thank you.
The title of your first book?
The title of my first book is The Sins That Made Me.
The Sins That Made Me.
Yes.
So when you hear that, you automatically think life. Mm-hmm. Because life is always life.
Yes.
We're always going through life struggles and everything. And I think a lot of times, Robin, that people get stuck. Mm-hmm. They get stuck in life. So we don't know how to come out of those situations. Mm-hmm. So let's go back. Finding your love to be an author, to want to write. Where did that journey start with you?
It really kind of came out of nowhere. Well, I guess after going through several trials and tribulations in life, I was just always that person who always seemed like I had something going on, like every time you turn around.
Yeah.
So my friends and some family would always say, you need to write a book.
Yeah.
Because I was an overcomer. I still am an overcomer. So people would always say to me, like, you need to write. And I felt that, but I would always say to I would talk myself out of it.
Okay.
Because to me, it's like, who am I? Everybody
have books,
difficult lives. And, so who am I to tell, my story? Mm-hmm. And I fought against it. And then one day I got a call from my pastor when I was a hot mess. Uh-huh. And the words that he spoke to me, after that moment, I was like, I'm going to write my book.
Now, writing your book, it's a fictional memoir, but again, we have to pull from somewhere.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We have to pull from somewhere. So as you're pulling, are you in the ministry?
No.
Just attend Victoria Ministries. Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm going there, is because a lot of times, me myself, being a part of a ministry, and we write books and we're writing our personal things, and then someone's going to read that, and we're afraid, what are they not going to think of me?
Exactly.
So, you know, how did you, first off, did you think like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Even after starting, I stopped so many times. I would get stuck
Worrying about
what people would say.
they may say, what they may think.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Today's episode of Talking with 3D Live is brought to you by IRoseFilms. IRoseFilms photo booth will capture every special event, from birthday parties, weddings, baby showers. They also specialize in 360 booths, also videography. So please make sure that anytime that you have a special event, contact IRoseFilms, IRoseFilms.com.
I was so worried about, in the beginning, I was excited, you know, as I started writing, so I would pray like, God, give me the words, help my creativity flow. And I shocked myself.
Yeah.
Like, I remember writing my first paragraph. I was like, wow. It was like, I don't know where it was coming from. But then that excitement turned into fear, you know, worried about, oh God, you know, like I'm really putting it out there.
Right.
You know, I tried to sugarcoat it as much as possible. But I was definitely worried about people hearing, you know, because some people look at me and they think a certain thing, but they have no idea. So that was me being vulnerable and putting it out there. I was very concerned, especially with being in church.
Right.
You know, like you just looked at like, oh, well, she go to church every Sunday. You know, she's holier than thou.
She don't know, she don't have no struggles.
Yes.
You know, everything is fine. She prays, she shouts, sing along with everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, we, like you just said, we have to put on this face. And we put on this face because of that we want people to think we've got it all together. We good. You know, I ain't nothing going on in my life and my family, and we're kumbaya over here.
Right.
And now when people read the book, what has that done for you? You know, what has it done for you as far as the strength and now Robin?
It has definitely it's humbled me first. I was so shocked at my feedback. It's kind of like a sense of relief for me. But the people who have read it and gave me like awesome feedback on it, it definitely strengthened me. And now I'm okay.
Yeah.
You know, now I'm okay that this is my story. This is, you know, who I am. But this is why I am who I am also. So it's definitely humbled and strengthened me, yes.
So can we talk a little bit about the struggles? What are some of the struggles that you had to overcome?
The struggle of repeated behaviors. The book tells the main character is Terry, a young girl who endured some childhood trauma that she never spoke up about, wasn't addressed. So when she became an adult, a young adult, she started to have a pattern and get into relationships, looking for love in all the wrong places. So that was one of the struggles, but she also became a mom of 6 children. And though she was married, she was kind of like a single mom. So the struggle of raising 6 children on little from nothing income, smiling every day, going through life. So that, and trying to balance, trying to become more Christ-like. Trying to balance the worldly life with your Christian walk, to bounce back and forth. So that was definitely a struggle. Yeah.
So when your children, 6 children, in age range?
Age range now from 15 to 28.
15 or 28.
Yes, she had her first. I had my first when I was a junior in high school, 17.
Wow.
I had my first child, and then every 2 years after that, I just kept popping up.
So have your children, have they read the book?
Yes.
What do they say, Mom? You know, wow, I did not know.
That's what.
And what's the conversation like with your children?
They were definitely, I feel like they appreciated who I was more. Of course, they had known what I had been through. They always known me to be the strong one.
Right.
I was mom.
Right.
I was super mom. And I was a super mom, but mine was breaking down inside. But when they started to read it, and it wasn't even intended for them to, it's just sometimes I would leave my laptop open and they would come and peek and it's like, is that about you? You know, so they had 1,000 questions. And then one day I just sat them down and I had a conversation with them. But I feel like it made them appreciate who I was to them even more.
And you said that, just listening to you just now, that you were the super mom that was struggling. You know, so what were some of the points of where were you struggling? You know, because I think it's important that people here, our listeners here, that, you know, when we and not just as, you know, women, but I think a lot of women need to know your story, your struggle. You were married, but still felt like you were raising, you know, a family of 6 on your own, and still trying to weigh out street life, church, and bring that all together. So, you know, where did you find Supermom, but I'm struggling?
Mainly in, I would have to say mainly in finances, because having, of course, 6 mouths to feed, paying bills, and making, I wasn't making minimum wage, and I made pretty decent money, but it just never seemed to be enough. But then there was also the part where I was being a little bit frivolous. You know, because I wanted to look a certain way. I didn't want anyone to look at me and see the struggle. And I did not want my children, and that was the most important part for me, I didn't want my children to feel it. So I gave them whatever they wanted. Christmas was a whole room full of toys. Like, I never wanted them to feel the struggle. Like, they thought mommy was rich. And I was not. So it was really definitely in the financial part. And then having a spouse that just, we weren't a team. We were married, but we were single in the same house. Exactly. Yeah. So that was a struggle.
So where do your children see you as now, or now that they know, okay, mom was struggling some, y'all, but she did everything that she could. How do your children now look at you and say, okay, now we get it?
Yes. Now they want to take care of mom. Yes. Now they want to take care of mom. I feel like that's all I hear. I have 2 boys that's off at college playing ball, so they tell me that all the time. All of I'm so blessed. And I say that because I feel like my children are nothing like me. They're nothing like me, and that's what I wanted.
Well, do you think that they're nothing like you because of the fact, you know, again, you gave them Supermom. So all they knew, you actually, you know, I have to, not knowing you personally, but just getting to know you and hearing a little bit about what you've gone through, you know, do you feel like they are the way they are now because you gave them Supermom? They were never, because us as parents, we never want to let our kids see us struggle. We want to be able for them to see the strong in us. You know, so that builds the strong character in us. They don't realize when we go to bed and we may cry and we're going home frustrated, or we get in a car and just drive because we need some time away. Did you have those moments?
Oh, yes, a whole lot. I would go in my room, shut the door, cry, give myself 5 minutes, come out, wipe my eyes. They would never know. And then right back to mommy mode. I would take them to school. At one point, I remember I didn't have a vehicle and I had to do drop-offs at school. We would walk, drop some off at the bus stop, drop some off at school, then take the younger ones to daycare. Then I would have to get on a bus to the light rail, to the subway to get to work. After I dropped them off, I would cry. Then I would go into work, go into bed for guys, and keep it moving.
So, Robin, what have you done to encourage you, to uplift you? Because self-care to me is very important. You know, self-love is very important. Have you taken the time to say, you know what, I've done a great job. My kids are doing wonderful. My kids haven't given me any problems. I hope not. Her daughter's in the studio and everything. I hope she ain't given no problems. But, you know, how do you take care of Robin?
I take time for me. Sometimes I just sit still and do nothing. Sometimes I stay in bed on purpose.
Right.
Because I was so used to always running with my children. When I have nothing to do, because I'm almost an empty nester now, I only really have my youngest at home.
Okay.
I'm bored. It's like, now what do I do?
Yeah.
So I try to make sure I take time for me on purpose. I go for walks.
As you should.
I read. I become a plant mom now. So
Okay.
I definitely make sure I just take that quiet time for me.
Well, it's what you have to do.
Yes.
So let's dig into the book. So it's the title of the book.
The Sins That Made Me.
The Sins That Made Me.
Yes.
So first off, let's talk about the title, The Sins That Made Me. How did you come up with that title?
So I didn't come up with the title, so I finished the book. It was going to be called Heart of My Sister, because my sisters, I put them in a book, and it's because they were a big part of my story as well. But I wanted the title to pop. Like, I wanted you to read the title and be like, yeah, I need to hear this story. Yeah. So it took me probably about 2 weeks after I was done to try to get the name. And that's just how I came up with it.
Do we have the book in the?
I do have my proof.
Okay, so we're going to get someone to grab the book for us, and then we'll, because I want people to see the book and everything too. So writing the book, and again, life experiences. Tell us a little bit about the characters that are in the book.
Okay. So the main character is Terry. Terry's spouse, Shamar. He's the dad of her children, or 5 of her children. And then there is Phyllis, who is Terry's mom. And she has 3 sisters. That is Ashley, Sandra, and Bria. So
the Sins That Made Me, first off, the cover is extraordinary. This is the cover of the book. The cover of the book. I love the cover alone.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes.
It's a piece of art right there. The Sins That Made Me by Robin K. Williams. And where's your book available?
It's available right now on Amazon, Kindle. Next month it will be available on Ink Sparks.
So I'm gonna the story introduces us to Terry, who spent her life carrying secrets too heavy for a child to bear. Molested at a young age, feeling abandoned by the one person that meant to protect her. She learned to navigate through life with a heart hardened by pain, used and cheated on by men she trusted. Terry finally finds solace in Nate, a man who sees her or for who she truly is. But just when she believes she's found her happy ever after, the world is shattered again. So can we just talk a little bit about, as a child, being abandoned? What does that feel like, Robin?
Painful, empty, worthless. And for me, it was a little different, because when I say abandoned about Terry, so it wasn't an issue in the book where she spoke up about it, because she never spoke up. Because she really didn't understand what had happened.
Had happened. And then we are also taught in the Black and brown community.
Exactly.
We don't talk about it. And I've talked about that several times on Talking with 3D Live. We don't talk about it. And so first off, we're afraid. We're afraid. Was Terry afraid to talk about these issues?
She was very afraid. She was already a very timid, shy child, very shy, quiet, a mama's girl. She stayed to her mama's hip, but she didn't tell her mother. But in not telling her mother, somewhere along the line, she resented her mother for just not knowing what had happened to her. So through that became like a strain in the relationship between her and her mom, but she had never spoke up about it. She never had the conversation with her mother.
When that happens, and especially we have to talk to our young girls and even our boys, when that happens, when you don't have anybody to talk to, when you don't have anyone to confide in, losing the trust in an adult, in a family, your mother, your father, how do we get past that? Do we ever get past it?
We do.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I think from prayer for Terry, because she comes from a praying family, her mother is a praying woman. So through prayer and strength through Christ, we definitely can get through it. Yes.
So when you talk about Terry looking for love, was that from childhood that you were trying to find, Terry was trying to find someone to, just to love her?
Yes. 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 Terry did not have her dad, so her sisters had their dads in their lives. Terry's dad was a drug addict, so she did not have her dad. She was always like the outcast, or she felt that way. So it wasn't that she was treated any differently, but she felt that way. And she's also the middle child.
Okay.
So she suffered from middle child syndrome already.
Okay.
So she always felt like everyone else, her sisters were smart and they got good grades and they had talents and gifts, but she just always felt empty, like she didn't belong.
So when people read the book, Robin, what do you want people to get from the book?
I really hope that, especially the Black community and women, some young girl can read it and get the courage to have the conversation, because there's so many women who have experienced that as a child and have not spoken up about it. And some may realize the choices that they make really stem from that childhood trauma. So I'm really hoping that readers will get that we need that kind of healing in the Black community. That when that takes place, speak up and talk about it as a family. Don't sweep it under the rug, because in the Black community, we definitely do that. Like what stays in his house, what happens in his house stays in his house.
Right.
Even though that wasn't really Tariq's case, I know that happens. So I'm really hoping that some reader can get some healing from it.
What do you tell your daughters? And again, we're not saying that it doesn't happen to our boys, but a lot of times our girls are so afraid to speak up.
Yes.
What's the conversation that you've had with your daughters?
So I've always told them, I don't care who it is. Even if mommy makes you feel uncomfortable, if dad makes you feel uncomfortable, tell me.
Right.
And I was very protective of my kids, and because of my childhood, so they wasn't really allowed to go anywhere or to stay overnight in anyone's house. Like I sheltered them. It was, my mom used to tell me, like, you need to relax a little bit, because I would make them crazy a little bit with it. But I would always tell them, like, you can come and tell me whatever. I don't care what the person may say to you. They can say they're going to harm you, they're going to harm mommy. I don't care. You can talk to me about whatever.
And again, we have to make sure that women are able to have these conversations within the family.
Yes.
Did you feel like you were doing a lot of this on your own when raising your kids? Because I know you said super mom, but then struggling.
Yes. Yes.
Where was that mindset? Did you try to keep that family bond together?
Yes. You mean with my
significant other?
I did. Yeah. So much so that I divorced him and then remarried him.
Okay.
And divorced him again.
And then remarried him.
Yes.
Divorced him again.
Yes.
Okay.
So I definitely did. Well, our first marriage, we were both young.
Okay.
So I didn't know what it took to be a wife, and he didn't know what it took to be a husband. We lasted for 3 years. I left, and then I came back, and I thought that he had matured more. I knew I did, but it just didn't work out. And I just figured, okay, it's time to walk away from this.
Yeah.
Like, we created beautiful, gifted, talented children.
Yeah.
But us as a couple, we were better separate.
Okay.
Our kids even suggested it. Like, we love you and dad, but we just want y'all to stay separate. So it was that type of thing. It was that type of thing.
Yeah. So it wasn't like, screaming and crying and all that kind of stuff. It was like,
they were very
don't
okay.
you do this again. Don't you do this again. You done tried it twice.
Yes.
We're good. We're good. I wanted to ask, what was the support that you did get from your family in writing the book?
Oh my gosh. So a lot of my family did not know. So I kind of kept it quiet. I spoke about it once, and then I had never spoke about it again.
Okay.
Maybe a few times with my mom, so she kind of knew. But like when I made it public, like on social media, I got so many phone calls like, so you did a book? I'm like, well, I did tell y'all. Like, we had a brief conversation, but I kept it quiet because I think I was afraid that I wouldn't finish. So I wanted to make sure I did it, because so many times I had stopped and walked away, and it was like, yeah, maybe I won't go back to it. But something just kept pushing me. Yeah. One night I can remember laying in the bed. It had been like a month since I had wrote. I had lost my grandson, actually. So I was grieving, and I was just all over the place. And out of nowhere, I heard God call my name. And I knew what he was calling me back to. So that's when I really went hard, and I finished it.
So how long did it take you to actually write the book?
It took me almost a year.
A year.
I started in April of 24.
When you're writing the book, because my thought process could be different from your thought process of how you write and how you obtain information and everything. How did you write the book? I mean, as far as, did you take notes? Were you talking into your phone? You know, how were you
all of the above?
With because as a writer, there's so many things that go through your mind, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have a paper or pen. I gotta, I gotta hurry and get home.
Yes.
You know, what was that like for you?
That's exactly what I was doing. I would take notes. I had it in my phone. I had bought notebooks, so I would keep one at work in my desk drawer, one at home on my nightstand, one in my living room, and I would try to keep one in my purse. I'd be out, my mom would just be going, and when I have something that comes to me, I would try to write it down or put it in my notes. But I definitely had to do that, because sometimes I would sit down in front of my laptop, but I didn't know. I would just let it come to me. It was hard. It was very hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely had to keep notes all over the place. And then when I sat down, I would go to them. But there were times when I didn't have any notes, and I would just sit down and just stare at the blank screen like, okay, give it to me, God. Like, yeah, but I would definitely try to pray every time. Every time I sat in front of my laptop, I asked God, send me the story.
The word.
Yes.
So where you said Amazon.
Yes.
So what do you want to do with the book to get everyone out there to read the book and to be able to read it?
Yes. So I'm having a book signing Friday, March the 7th, at Capitol Lounge, 1531 Pennsylvania Avenue. I'll have books there. It's on Amazon and Kindle. I really want the book to be a trilogy.
Okay.
So when you read it, the way it ends off, you know that there is another. The story's not finished.
It's not done.
Yes, it's not done. Because like how we spoke earlier, because I'm not done.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not done here.
Yeah. There's always more.
Yes.
And I always say my story's not over until y'all close that casket on me and say goodbye.
Yeah.
Listen, so I really appreciate you coming by, Robin.
Thank you so much.
And talking about your book. So the book again is called The Sins That Made Me. It's available on Amazon, and you can get the book now.
Yes.
Also, I love to play a game, so we're going to play just a quick game before we have to get out of here. So as a mother of 6,
okay.
I know you've said these things, so I'm going to give you some sentences, and you've got to finish the sentence.
Okay.
Okay? So the sentence is, I'm not one. What's the rest of the sentence?
Or the two?
I'm not one
of your little friends.
There you go.
Okay.
Every black man said it. I am not one of your little friends. Okay? Do I look like?
Oh my gosh. Wait.
When one of your kids come up and ask you a question, and you look at them and say, "Now, do I look like
the bank?
Not the bank.
Not the bank.
Do I look like?" I'm gonna give you a little hint. Starts with a B, though.
The fool.
There you go.
Okay, yes.
There you go. Then another one. First of all, check your
self.
Check your when you talk about
your tone.
There you go. Every black mother knows those
absolutely.
Things. I hope you know your schoolwork like you
know the lyrics to that song.
There you go. Yes. And the last one. What does this mean? Let me show the audience real quick. What's this mean?
You want me to say it?
Yes.
Get your black ass in the house.
There you go. Ding, ding, ding. You won. Every black mother knows this. Yes. Good job. Robin, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I wish you well on your book. I wish you well. And The Sins That Made Me. So I want everybody to go out and purchase this book. It's on Amazon right now. And then you will have future book signings as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So please keep us posted and everything. Okay. I will make sure that everybody on Talking with 3D Live knows when you're having an event. Okay. And we'll post it on social media. But the Sins That Made Me, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you again.
Thank you for coming by. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Listen, once again, if you have a passion, if you have a dream, go out there and follow your dreams and do what God's purposed you to do. I thank you so much for tuning in. Go out, love somebody intentionally, and we'll see you next time. Peace.